I'm, I'm Zena Taylor, and I'm your worship associate this morning. Thank you for being here, whether you're joining us in the pews or online. Lunch Bunch today will be at 12:15. This is an informal gathering for fellowship and to continue conversations. All are welcome to join in, and if you're a little new around here, we'd like to invite you to join as well. Between this service and Lunch Bunch, we'll share coffee and conversation here in our gathering place just outside the sanctuary. Each Sunday, members of our peer ministry team are here in the sanctuary during and after the service to listen to any immediate pastoral care needs and to assist you with connecting to additional pastoral support if you'd like. You can tell the members of the peer ministry team by their yellow name tags. And if any of the members of the peer ministry team are here today, would you please raise your hand so that people can find you afterwards? Great, thank you, Suzanne. Any visitors who may be here among us this morning are invited to fill out our yellow visitor card in the pew in front of you so you can receive more information about Emerson and all of our activities. You can place it in either the offertory plates here at the front or the box at the back. We're delighted that you're here. And now, a special announcement from our religious education teacher, Aziza Mims.
Thank you so much, Zena. Good morning, Emerson. Yay! Hey, this is the type of fun and energy that we have to bring this summer. We're so excited because we have Passport to Summer with Emerson UU. What is Passport to Summer? I'm so glad you asked. It is an 8-week program that includes children 3 to 11 years of age. And guess what? Everyone is invited. That's right. You can invite your neighbors. You can invite your friends, your family. Anyone who is here this summer is invited. And while they're here, they get a wonderful lesson from 11 a.m. to noon, and we'll travel to 8 different countries, and we'll study faiths in each of those countries. So pack your bags, come with us. We don't have to travel far to go the distance. I hope that you will join us. Last but not least, I want to remind you all that next class, that means our first Sunday in June, we'll have elementary classes will resume, and they will be having a Soul Matters lesson. That means that then on June 14th, our expedition will begin. So I'll see you next Sunday.
Please help me in welcoming Nina Kuzniak as our pulpit guest today. She is a seminarian on the path toward UU Parish Ministry and is the intern serving multiple UU churches in Houston, including Emerson, this church year. And now, please enjoy our prelude as we formally begin our service. As we gather in community, we look within ourselves and to each other for strength, restoration, and inspiration, so that as we journey together, we catch the spark of the eternal Spirit, and from that spark, we light our chalice flame. Lighting the chalice flame symbolizes to all that the spirit of our congregation is strong and that our will to transform ourselves and the world is also strong. We light the flame with gratitude. We light the flame in memory of all who have gone before, in honor of all who are here now, and with joy for all who are yet to come. As Marilyn Rambo lights our chalice flame here in this sanctuary, I invite those of you joining us from home to light a candle or a chalice of your own. Please join me in reading the words from Anastasia, a current seminarian at Meadville Lombard Theological School, as they appear on the screen. Love begets love, and it is love that lights our chalice.
Good morning. As we work to create beloved community, we welcome all who would join us in building a better world with more love, more justice, and more peace. We welcome all who would join us in growing in mind and heart and spirit. We welcome all who would join us in tearing down systems of oppression of all kinds. We welcome all who would join their purposes to ours in a loving spirit of right relationship. Please join me in our welcoming. The words are on the screen. Whoever you are, wherever you come from, wherever you find yourself on life's journey, whichever your pronouns, whether you've walked in, rolled in, or dialed in, whomever you love, you are welcome here. So now we have our time for all ages, and I was told that our youngest friends are already in doing fun RE things right now, which means that when we say the young and the young at heart are welcome to come join, heavy on the young at heart today. So if any of you would like to come up, because I'm going to read this book whether or not there's anyone around me. It's called Carl and the Meaning of Life, and Carl is an earthworm, and it's so cute. So if anyone would like to come and circle around today, that would be great. Okay. Yay. Carl and the Meaning of Life by Deborah Friedman. Carl was not a bird. Carl was not a bear or a beaver. Carl was an earthworm. He lived underground, moving, always moving, burrowing and tunneling and digesting dead leaves, feasting and casting, turning hard dirt into fluffy soil day after day. Why? Asked a field mouse gathering seeds. Why do you do that? Why? Carl didn't know why, but now he needed to find out. So Carl stopped making fluffy soil. I'll be right back, he told the field mouse. He spotted a rabbit. Maybe she knew. Why do I do what I do? He asked her. Oh, goodness, dear, she said. I don't know. I do what I do for my babies. But Carl didn't have babies. fox appeared. Carl turned to the fox. "Why do I do what I do?" asked Carl. "Who do I do it for?" "For whom?" replied the fox. "Alas, my meal awaits. I am here for the hunt." But Carl didn't want to hunt. "Why are you talking to a fox?" cried a squirrel. Carl was startled. "Because the field mouse is waiting and wants to know what I'm here for." The squirrel declared, "I'm here to plant trees. Trees are where I sleep." But Carl could not sleep, not high in a tree, and not without an answer for the mouse. He pushed on. And on. Hours turned into days until that soil was no longer fluffy. The ground around Carl turned barren and dry while he continued to search. What? Who? Why? Sigh. But the birds had flown off to find grasses and fluff. The bear trundled away to look for berries, and soon there was nobody left to talk to. "What about me?" called Carl. The clouds were silent. So was the air. "I'll never find out," he said. Then Carl heard his sniffle echo, followed by a squeak. "I can't find any grubs," a voice cried. It was the saddest little ground beetle that he had ever seen. Carl peeked under a stone. No grubs. Then he poked at the dirt. It was hard, like rock. Where was his fluffy soil? Suddenly, Carl knew what he needed to do. "I'll be back," he promised. For hours into days and weeks into months, Carl munched and digested, left castings and tunneled and turned that hard dirt back to rich soil. "You made my seeds grow again," said the mouse. Clover blossomed once again, and the rabbit came back with her kits. The squirrel returned to plant new trees. The fox was lured by the hunt, all of them able to do what they do. How? Well, why not ask Carl? I'm going to read the author's note here. She says, "Have you ever watched squirrels running around or beetles skittering by and wondered, what are they doing? Why do they do that?" Just like Carl, every creature in this book has an important job. The mouse and rabbit, squirrel, fox, and ground beetle, they all need each other. And our world needs them. Everything is connected, including each of you, each of us. So how is your being here a helpful thing to the world? So if you were a bunch of 6-year-olds like I thought you'd be, I was going to ask you what you thought about the meaning of life. You're not 6, but I'm still curious if you have any thoughts on this. I say the meaning of life, any fun little quip come to mind? As a gardener, we have a worm fan up here. Did you know they're all named Carl?
I didn't know that.
Every last one of them, yeah.
I did learn something new today.
There you go, there you go. All right, we'll flesh this theme out for the rest of service. Thanks, everybody. The meaning of life, some say, is to give life meaning. There we go. And now I pass it over for this day in UU history. Yes, thanks.
Thank you, Nina. Good morning. For this week in Unitarian Universalist history, I've selected two items from Frank Schulman's book, which denotes 600 years of UU history. On May 25th, in 1803, Ralph Waldo Emerson, our namesake, was born in Boston, Massachusetts. He was born into a family of ministers. Waldo, as he was called, became minister of Second Church Unitarian in Boston, his father having been minister of First Church in Boston. Not satisfied as a minister, Emerson resigned after 3 years. After the sudden death of his wife in 1832, he went to Europe, where he met romantic poets Samuel Taylor Coleridge, William Wordsworth, and Thomas Carlyle, who influenced him greatly. When Emerson returned to America, he devoted his time to writing and moved to Concord, Massachusetts, where he spent the rest of his life. He became a prominent lecturer, poet, and essayist, combining his family's traditional religious values with visions from the English Romantics. His first book, Nature, appeared in 1836, the same year the Transcendental Club gathered in Concord. He is best known for his essays, lectures, and addresses such as Self-Reliance, The American Scholar, the Divinity School Address at Harvard in 1838, and as a transcendentalist philosopher. Ralph Waldo Emerson died on April 27th in 1882. And then on the 26th of May in 1806, Joseph Workman was born in Danbury, Ireland. He was the main founder of the first Unitarian congregation of Toronto, Canada, in 1845, and wrote its first constitution. His brother Benjamin helped found the Unitarian Church in Montreal. Workman taught high school while studying medicine at McGill University. He was a merchant in Toronto for 10 years, then practiced family medicine. He established a hospital for poor immigrants and fought for free, non-sectarian yet Christian education. Workman considered exclusion of women from any branch of learning to be barbaric. He advocated financial aid for the poor, extension of voting rights, and women's rights. Known as the father of Canadian psychiatry, he served as superintendent of the Provincial Lunatic Asylum from 1853 to 1875, and advocated humane treatment for the patients. Joseph Workman died on April 13th, 1894. Nina?
Are gathered, we hear words from one of the 6 sources of Unitarian Universalism. Today, we hear words from an excerpt from Figuring by Maria Popova. All of it, the rings of Saturn and my father's wedding band, the underbelly of the clouds pinked by the rising sun, Einstein's brain bathing in a jar of formaldehyde every grain of sand that made the glass, that made the jar, and each idea that Einstein ever had. Every translucent fingernail on my friend's newborn son, every stone with which Virginia Woolf filled her coat pockets before wading into the river to drown, every copper atom composing the disk that carried arias above the first human-made object to enter interstellar space, and every oak splinter of the floorboards onto which Beethoven collapsed in the fit of fury that cost him his hearing, the wetness of every tear that has ever been wept over a grave, and the yellow of the beak of every raven that has ever watched the weepers, every cell in Galileo's fleshy finger, and every molecule of gas and dust that made the moons of Jupiter to which his finger pointed. All the facts and figments by which we are perpetually figuring and reconfiguring reality, it all banged into being 13.8 billion years ago from one single source, no louder than the opening note of Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. How can we know this and still succumb to the illusion of separateness, of otherness? We spend our lives trying to discern where we end and the rest of the world begins. And our lives interweave with other lives, and out of the tapestry arise hints at the answers to questions that raise to the bone of life. What are the building blocks of character, of contentment, of lasting achievement? How does a person come into self-possession and sovereignty of mind against the tide of convention and unreasoning collectivism? Does genius suffice for happiness? Does distinction? Does love? How, in this blink of existence, bookended by nothingness, do we attain completeness of being? There are infinitely many kinds of beautiful lives. And now, with our chalices lit and our hearts and minds centered, we invite you to join your voices with ours in celebration by singing our first hymn. You may stand if you're comfortable doing so, or you can stay seated, but help us raise our voices and sing. Our opening hymn is number 108 in the gray hymnal, My Life Flows On in Endless Song.
Emerson collects an offering each week, like many other communities of faith, but our offering is not for our church, which is supported by the annual pledges of our members. We collect our Sunday offering to give to others because we know that giving is both a transformative act and an important way to live our values. 75% of today's offering will go to May's Share the Plate recipient, Texas UU Justice Ministry, TXUUJM. TXUUJM advocates for public policies that reflect UU values and principles. They are the UU State Action Network, and most Texas UU churches are members of TXUUJM. TXUUJM organizes, facilitates, and supports activities such as rallies at the Texas Capitol, lobbying legislators in person and electronically, UU the Vote, support for LGBTQIA community, transgender, and immigration rights. It also closely collaborates with other like-minded partners on social justice. The remaining 25% of today's offering will go to our wonderful community partner, Interfaith Ministries' Meals on Wheels program, which uses our donated treasures to provide meals to thousands of Houston's homebound seniors each and every day. You can go to our webpage for online giving, mail a check to the church, or put cash or a check in our offering plates here up front or the offering basket at the back of the sanctuary.
It is time we settle our bodies and spirits into this sacred container. I'm going to lead you on a brief guided meditation, so find any place that works for your body where you can feel the most ease. And if it feels easeful to close your eyes, I encourage you to do so. Feel the chair holding your body. Imagine the earth holding you. Breathe deeply once. Feel the air rush in and flow out of you. And then allow your breaths to move in and out naturally, making them as deep as you need them to be right now. From this place of steady breath, notice your physical body. Notice anywhere you may be holding tension, and send those places warmth and tenderness and ease. And now now notice anywhere that you may be holding ease. Maybe it's a soft belly, or relaxed hands, or the way that the cool air feels moving in and out of you. Begin to bring your awareness to your chest, and if it helps, you might put a hand on your chest. Imagine this physical structure, layers of skin over layers of muscle and fat, and then a rib cage of expandable bones and joints, connective tissue, then all the muscles and lungs doing the quiet and steady work of life. And finally, the heart. Take a moment to feel your heartbeat. Once you've found your heartbeat, imagine a gentle, glowing, warm light emanating from this place in your body. With every inhale, feel this light expand and brighten. With every exhale, feel it spread a sense of calm and openness throughout your body. Inhale, expand and brighten. Exhale, calm and open. Inhale, expand and brighten. Exhale, calm and open. Inhale, expand and brighten. Exhale, calm and open. Inhale, expand and brighten once more. Exhale, calm and open. Remember this moment of peace, of calm, of brightness. Remember this place inside of you that is the source of so much knowing. Take a final deep breath in. Open your eyes if they're closed, and return to our shared space. While we gather in times of strife, in times of ceaseless demands, this heart space inside of you, this is your sea of tranquility. It is only for you. You can always return here to this place of your brightness and calmness.
The words for our second reading today come from the interior castle of St. Teresa of Avila, translated by Marahai Starr. There is a secret place, a radiant sanctuary, as real as your own kitchen, more real than that, constructed of the purest elements, overflowing with the 10,000 beautiful things, worlds within worlds, forest, rivers, velvet coverlets thrown over feather beds, fountains bubbling beneath a canopy of stars, bountiful forest, universal libraries, a wine cellar offering an intoxication so sweet you will never be sober again, a clarity so complete you will never again forget. This magnificent refuge is inside of you. Enter. Shatter the darkness that surrounds the doorway. Step around the poisonous vipers that slither at your feet, attempting to throw you off course. Be bold. Be humble. Put away the incense and forget the incantations that they taught you. Ask no permission from the authorities. Slip away. Close your eyes and follow your breath to the still place that leads you to the invisible path that leads you home.
There are infinitely many kinds of beautiful lives, but to live a human life is a complicated thing. Our bodies contain about 30 trillion cells, each with distinct jobs and countless interactions working so very hard to keep us alive, evading all those inside and out who wish us harm. And despite this tremendous effort, we are terribly vulnerable. If these complicated and busy bodies that we live in go 3 minutes without air, 3 hours without shelter in a harsh environment, 3 days without drinkable water, or 3 weeks without food, we will perish. And no matter how well those 30 trillion cells protect our bodies, every living thing and this planet itself are all subject to unstoppable entropy, pulling us toward chaos and decay. Our planet hurtles through space, a tiny blue dot in an ever-expanding and accelerating universe that contains 2 trillion galaxies. Our universe is about halfway through its 33 billion year lifespan. And after expanding to its peak size, which will happen in about 11 billion years, it will begin to contract, eventually snapping back like a rubber band to a single point in the end. We know we will one day return to the dust from whence we came, along with every insect and poem and peach tree and dollar bill and fortune cookie and lop-eared rabbit to have ever existed. In knowing this, our lives are infinitesimally small, merely a blink in the eye of the universe. Our lives are fragile and random and vanishingly short. And at any given time, we're a couple bad cells or strokes of bad luck away from a wholly changed life. And yet, nearly every moment, from the time that we gain consciousness to the moment of our final rest, we attempt to make meaning of our fleeting and overwhelming existence. Many have said that this urge to make meaning of life is actually a survival mechanism. We are more willing and able to endure the inevitable suffering that is life if we know that our existence is a part of something larger than ourselves, that we are working and living towards such things as belonging or purpose or transcendence. It is perhaps both the greatest impetus and the ongoing purpose of religious community. And in her book, The Power of Meaning, Emily Asvahani Smith argues that the search for meaning immeasurably deepens our lives and is a far more fulfilling pursuit than that of personal happiness. My own desire for meaning drew me to seminary, to ministry, to this moment in this space with you. My opening words today are the Bulgarian essayist Maria Popova's opening words for her book, Figuring, in which she explores the interconnected lives of so many historical thinkers, many of them our own religious ancestors, and their seek to find meaning and truth and love in their lives. She says, again, we spend our lives trying to discern where we end and the rest of the world begins. Our lives interweave with other lives, and out of the tapestry arise hints at the answers to questions that raise to the bone of life. What are the building blocks of character, of contentment, of lasting achievement? How does a person come into self-possession and sovereignty of the mind against the tide of convention? Does genius suffice for happiness? Does distinction? Does love? Maria likely wouldn't tell you that she is a theologian, but she poses theological questions about the nature of humanity and life. We each exist in this long lineage of thinkers, creators, lovers, and dissenters who wonder how to strike the chord between individual sovereignty and our devotion to the common good. This is a strong cornerstone upon which our theology rests, and it calls upon our first source, which reminds us that meaning in our faith and our lives is derived from the transcending mystery and wonder of our own direct experiences. Last week, I was preparing for a service about Juneteenth, and I spent a lot of time reading and putting into context the recent United Nations resolution, which named chattel slavery and the human trafficking of Africans the greatest crime against humanity. I was reading about it because it happened recently. The vote for this resolution was on March 25th. I learned in these studies that United States is one of 3 countries who issued a no vote on the resolution, further stalling the fight for reparations in this country, which suffers mightily under increasing state oppression and brutality. I was reading about this and writing about this, and this topic matters deeply, both to me and to the world and to this moment in time. It matters because we know that the racist inheritance of this nation impacts Black people and families today in all ways. And we know that without addressing these historical injustices, we'll never repair this rip in the fabric of humanity. And this no vote that the United States cast, it pushes repair even further off. And so I researched and I wrote and I read and I thought, and I felt myself tumbling into the depths of despair for all the remedy that has not been done to make this wrong right. A couple days later, I was listening to a podcast where they dove deep into the current political crisis in Cuba, the increasing military presence and action that's happening on the island nation. It seems to be once again teeing up our administration to step beyond the boundaries of reason, respect, or democracy. I read about it and wrote about it and thought about it, and I reached out to my brother-in-law, who's Cuban, and I asked him about it, and he said, there's just no food or electricity anywhere. In that moment, and in this moment right now, my heart and my mind is full of Cuba and the people of Cuba. Every day, a little more news leaks out about Cuba, and I find myself, once again, tumbling into the depths of despair for the absolute waste of human ingenuity that is warfare. For every being that suffers amid shortages of food and fuel and medicine, for political systems and leaders who fail to see all lives as precious and irreplaceable. These two direct experiences in the past week of my life, both very connected to what I believe is true about human nature and the common good, they are a mere drop in the bucket of what each of us experience in the constant deluge of information that we receive about the state of the planet and all who call her home. These depths of despair that I feel myself so often tumbling into, sometimes they feel too deep for me to sense the bottom of my emotions, to sense that there's anything stronger or truer below it. I am tossed around, subject to the whims of the moment and pulled into immediate action. But the truth is that while I care deeply about the fight for justice and repair, and I would like to be a part of it for as long as I well can, I am not the fight for justice. I would like to be a part of the fight for final and total liberation from all systems of oppression for all, but that fight is not me. Differentiating myself from the justice issues that most deeply absorb my heart and mind, it's hard, but it is necessary work to identify myself as something more than just a reactor or a responder to any moment in time. These direct experiences of a wounded world in need of care and change are important so that we might remember why the work of our lives matters today and right now. But without a deeper framework for also directly experiencing and understanding ourselves, we are boats atop choppy water, battening the hatches and hoping for the best. When we lack the knowledge of what the strong pillars of our lives are, we risk conflating the things that we care about with who we are. Now, being people who craft our understandings of our lives on direct experience, it puts us in a lineage of Gnostics and mystics who offer a consistent theme of finding and knowing the divine through finding and knowing oneself. These thinkers and believers, they believed that the path to the divine is actually a journey of self-discovery. Our second reading today, offered by Zena, was from The Interior Castle by St. Teresa of Avila, who was a 16th century Catholic saint who led a movement of spiritual and monastic renewal grounded in the idea that contemplation was the way to know the divine. Throughout the book, The Interior Castle, she explains that the fortitude and dedication and perseverance required to quiet the noise of life sufficiently so that one might be able to be with only themselves. She echoes what so many mystics before and since have taught us. The ultimate masterpiece of life is the human soul, and this is the place where the divine beloved dwells. The journey to union with the beloved is the journey home to the center of ourselves, or offered in perhaps a less theistic framework, the journey to making meaning of one's life is the journey home to the center of oneself. Now, to know oneself and act accordingly, this has always been an act of defiance. St. Teresa was writing during the Spanish Inquisition, and her book is full of metaphors and self-deprecation to obscure her controversial teachings which disputed the monarchy's strict understanding of Catholicism and its willingness to accuse anyone who practiced it differently of heresy. Today, with authoritarian politics and artificial intelligence creating smooth paths for compliance, thinking for oneself, knowing oneself, remains revolutionary. So maybe now back to our first source for a moment. I think maybe it's lacking an explanatory clause, because it is both directly experiencing the world and having the tools and bravery to integrate our direct experiences that really helps us make sense of it. To have the ability and willingness to take an experience into the depth of our soul, into that quiet place of light and brightness and warmth, and ask, how does this make sense to me? How does this make sense alongside me? Our direct experience of the world is only as trustworthy as our direct experience of ourselves. This effort in knowing self and making steady meaning of life, it must start with visiting that secret place, that radiant sanctuary inside of you, that place so real, overflowing with beautiful things, beyond the darkness that shrouds the doorway, the path led by breath to the still place that leads to the invisible path that leads you home. As we are not a people of one creed, today's message about making meaning of life is not a prescription. You would be hard-pressed to find a Unitarian Universalist sermon that is a prescription, and you'd be harder-pressed to find a UU who's looking to be told what to do. But I do empathize with Carl the earthworm, because it might be simpler if we could simply turn to others for guidance on why we're here and what it all means. I can't tell you which values, which behaviors, or which texts will help you make meaning of life, will ground you when you're feeling yourself tumbling into the depths of despair. But I can compel you to never ignore the invitation issued to journey deep within yourself, to discover that place of stillness, of knowing, of you-ness. All that transcendence and mystery and wonder that we seek, that which nourishes us along this long and arduous path of making more justice and love in the world, that never gets in if you never get quiet. Each of us, people of passion and action, could easily fill each moment of every day of our lives simply responding to the weather. But weather comes and goes, changing constantly. And we are more than weather vanes. We are strong, well-rooted trees that are equipped to withstand the weather. So I leave you today with a blessing for curiosity. Mystics, sages, and seekers throughout the ages have encouraged that we approach ourselves and our world with an insatiable curiosity about what could be true should we aim to understand across lines of difference, both with the wider world, but also within ourselves. So may you cultivate a deep curiosity about yourself. May you quiet the noise enough that you can really hear yourself. And may this effort have a softening effect on a weary, weather-worn spirit. There is no doubting that there are infinitely many kinds of beautiful lives. I wish you every blessing as you discern yours. Now please rise in body or spirit for our closing hymn, which celebrates the preciousness of you, number 118, This Little Light of Mine.
This little light of mine,
Each time we come together, we move. We move with the words that we hear. We move with the music that we hear. We move with the light of the chalice, which, like us, flickers and flutters from side to side, moving constantly, yet tethered to its source. We extinguish this chalice now, not as a symbolic ritual, but as a practical ritual. We do this because the flickering, fluttering light of our congregation is carried within each of us here present, those not present today, those who have left this community long ago, never to return, and those who have yet to arrive. Marilyn, please extinguish our chalice. We are so grateful for your presence this morning. For those of you who have joined us on YouTube, grateful for you too. After the postlude, we will be ending our live streaming service. We love having you and look forward to seeing you here again, either online or here at Bering Drive. Today is my last Sunday in your pulpit as a ministerial intern. The opportunity to preach here multiple times over this year has been transformational for me, and I have grown because of your witness and generosity. So thank you for always welcoming me with open hearts and open minds. May our thank you. May our lives be blessed with curiosity and braveness, that in knowing ourselves more deeply, we become ever more capable of knowing and caring for one another. May you approach the week, drawing strength from the place of calm and peace within you. Go today in peace and power and take good care of each other.